ABC News immigration reporter Armando Garcia was outside the Roosevelt Hotel earlier today. So he's joining me right now, along with immigration attorney Renata Castro. So thank you for being here with us. Armando, starting with you, the migrants obviously facing a lot of uncertainty while they're trying to seek asylum in the United States. What are you learning from the migrants that are outside this particular spot, right outside the Roosevelt Hotel right now?
Kenna, migrants are exhausted and they're confused. I spoke to a lot of people who actually don't even know what they're lining up for, but they know that it's the first step for asylum seekers in New York City. This is one of the most affluent parts of the city, so it's very striking to see people sleeping on the streets. I was told by many of them that they don't have enough water to drink, that they don't have a restroom to use, so they've actually been going into some of those neighboring businesses, but they say that they're getting a little bit of a backlash from some of the locals and some of the business owners nearby.
Just simple needs, right, that can't be met. And Renata, unlike other American cities, New York City is legally required to give anyone shelter who asks for it. But now New York officials are saying the shelters are full. So what happens now? Is there any kind of legal recourse to be taken?
Most likely what this situation will result in is a change in the New York City code, changing the right to shelter. Because as you rightfully mentioned, no other American city is reporting this issue with housing migrants except for New York City. It's also interesting to mention what Armando said, that a lot of people are lining up in this shelter not knowing what they're lining up for. They're under the impression that they are there to start their asylum process, which is a misnomer. That's incorrect. They can start their asylum process everywhere. I know that the city of New York, they had the brilliant idea to pass out flyers at the border, and I wonder how effective that'll be in restricting the trip of migrants to New York City. But we need a more robust and effective information system for asylum seekers when they have contact with Customs and Border Patrol at the border, so that instead of relying on underground information, such as the ones that are leading migrants to this shelter line in New York, to useful and effective information that will help them get employment authorization and settle lawfully in the United States.
And Armando, where do things stand on the lawsuit that was filed by the Justice Department against Texas over the state's use of those floating barriers to try to stop the migrants? Federal officials have asked a judge to order the removal of these existing buoys that are there. So what's going on?
Kenna, that lawsuit is underway, and Texas Governor Abbott has said that he's going to put up a big fight to keep those buoys in place. But one thing that I think is really important to note is that these buoys are placed in a very particularly dangerous part of the Rio Grande. I've been there several times. In fact, in town there, I visited just a few months ago. There's a cemetery with unmarked graves, essentially Jane and John Does, and those are unidentified migrants who have died crossing that river. Kenna.
Wow. And Renata, as you just heard him talk about there, the Texas governor, he seems really eager to go to court about this, essentially telling federal government that Texas will see you in court. But Abbott and these Texas officials allegedly didn't seek any kind of authorization from the Army Corps of Engineers before they installed those buoys. As you point out there, that they're in a really particularly dangerous spot of the Rio Grande. So that was required by law. They didn't do it. How do you see this playing out, Renata?
I think we should all pay attention to how presidential candidates are violating jurisdictional limitations within their offices. The Florida governor has done this, Ron DeSantis, with the limitation that was just passed July 1st here in the state of Florida. And now Abbott violating more than one federal law installing these buoys, because even though he believes that this is a matter of migrants crossing into Texas, it's a lot broader than that. The United States government sent the Abbott cabinet a letter in good faith. And this gives me some flashbacks to the Trump-Hillary candidacy. And I think that Abbott and DeSantis are really playing the playbook of getting as much publicity on their willingness not to follow the law, but to confront what they call a border crisis. No one's talking about the big reduction in the number of migrants crossing the border. And the only thing that will really resolve whether or not migrants come to the United States through the Rio Grande or any other border is for Congress and Senate to pass meaningful regulation, changing the way migrants are required to present themselves at a port of entry to petition for asylum and protect their lives.
Right, and pointing out here that in a letter to President Biden, Governor Abbott claimed the Constitution actually grants Texas the sovereign authority to protect its borders because of President Biden's, his quote here, alleged failure to combat illegal border crossings. So clearly there are legal battles to be fought here, and I appreciate your time, both of you. Armando and Renata, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.